Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on WhoKnewPodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at WhoKnewPodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at WhoKnewPodcast, and find us on Facebook. Today's episode is Season 4 or Series 4, depending on what part of the planet you're from. It's 13 episodes long. Donna Noble is our companion, played by Catherine Tate, and the 10th Doctor is played by David Tennant, and this is his last full season as the Doctor.
Boo.
Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, this is Brian.
Hi, this is Frank.
I am Josh.
Hello, this is Auburn.
It's Kelsey.
And this is Eugene. First of all, I always say that this is available on DVD. I am a proponent of buying DVDs. The DVD box set has commentary on all 13 episodes. It has a bunch of special features. It has the Doctor Who Confidential cut-downs, video diaries, some behind the scenes, and deleted scenes too. Like you get Donna's father before the actor passed away, acting with Donna in Partners in Crime. So you can check that out.
It also includes Voyage of the Damned, right?
Yes, the first disc has Voyage of the Damned, the Christmas special.
And does it have Time Crash?
It has Time Crash as well.
Is it on Blu-ray as well, or just DVD, or you don't know?
At this point of this recording, I don't think it's on Blu-ray.
And if it were, it would be an up-res. They were not filming in which is unfortunate.
Yeah, just to let people know what to look for in the store.
I guess a funny story, or little story, short story, about the DVDs. When these first came out, they were like $100 a piece.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they're very expensive.
So Season 4 was the one I was getting to in my watching of Doctor Who at this time, because I had missed it on BBC America as far as broadcasting it. And I found it somewhere for very cheap, but me being young at the time, I went and got it. And it played fine on the DVD player, but when I put it into a Blu-ray player and was playing it off of an HD widescreen, flat screen TV now, I could see the pixelization, so I knew it was a bootleg. But it was a very well done bootleg. Like the packaging was identical. It was crazy. Not only until I guess up-resed it that I could tell that it was not the genuine article. So there are some pretty good forgeries out there at the time. I don't know if they're still floating around the secondary markets out there. And then because I remember wanting to get the standard regular edition of the DVD set because Brian had I think the Best Buy exclusive steel case.
Yes, it was awful.
It was not that good because it was a steel case that crammed all of the DVDs into that slim packaging,
Including the booklet. You couldn't put the booklet in with the discs and close it and
So
have
the
everything.
the point of having such a collector's item was moot because it...
It was so annoying that eventually I went out and just bought a regular set. And I gave you mine.
No, I gave you my bootleg because you had the steel case.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
We all have the real ones now.
Yeah.
yeah,
Many times over.
the Season 4 DVD box set in America has a blue background with David Tennant in the brown suit with his usual hand extended like in an open palm.
Action
Stance, reaching or like force pushing, and then Catherine Tate behind him. And then in the UK release, the suit is blue. It's like the same exact pose, everything, and then they just, I guess, Photoshop the suit to being blue. So that's why when I found that box set on the secondary market, I got it because it had the blue suit. So also in Season 4, other than Catherine Tate coming back from her first appearance in Runaway Bride, we get Bernard Cribbins coming back from Voyage of the Damned. And I don't know about you guys, but anytime he's on there on screen, he always makes me a little teary-eyed because of the way he acts.
Yeah.
Who is her grandfather, Wilfred? Sometimes people don't know the actor's name.
And he was also previously connected through Doctor Who by being in the Doctor Who movie with Peter Cushing that is completely out of canon. I think it's called Doctor Who and the Daleks, or the Daleks Invasion.
I think it's Daleks Invasion that he's in.
So other than that, starting with Partners in Crime, we have Penny, who was supposed to be the new companion before Catherine Tate became the official and signed on as the official companion for Season 4. So we were talking about Penny being a potential companion, if you remember that episode.
But
She was the reporter?
Yes,
Oh,
but I do
she's
believe
awesome.
it's just a reuse of the name.
and not
And not the
character.
The character wasn't going to be a reporter
okay, yeah.
like that.
Because that was not a very good companion quality character.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, but Russell threw in the name just to a little remembrance of what could have been.
Yep. And then after that, we get Fires of Pompeii, and a lot. I think the siblings in the family were pretty good. We mentioned how we liked them, Quintus and Evelina.
Everybody in that episode was good. Actually.
Yeah, do we consider them companions if they didn't really know what's going on, though, with the Doctor? Because
They're companion material.
The way that I've heard a lot of people describe it, and I agree, is that a companion is someone who travels in the TARDIS
At least once.
at least once. Is it going to a different time?
No, just traveling in it.
Just travels in the TARDIS.
Oh.
And
by the end
also,
of the ep-
they'll break that rule occasionally for certain people.
So Adam was a companion?
Adam's
Yeah.
a companion.
For that
Technically.
episode.
Yep.
he's no CM.
Right. But that's not
Boy,
what
we
we're doing
hate
here,
Adam.
right? We're just talking about people that we saw throughout the
In season 4.
that
Who are
would've-
potential companions?
Yeah.
Or even just
had-
companions along for the adventure.
Bringing it back to Buffy,
Oh.
they're potential slayers. They may not be called to duty, but... Well, like in Voyage of the Damned, there was no companions. Even though Kylie Minogue, played Astrid.
And she is considered a companion.
Really?
But
It
see-
breaks the rules, but
see,
she
and I
is
say,
considered.
No, she wasn't. She was companion material who didn't make it onto the TARDIS.
But she did not make it onto the TARDIS. That is
Because
true.
that would have changed the whole rest of the story if she would have left at the end with them.
Yeah, but she does fulfill the companion role in the story that they're
But yeah,
telling.
to me, she's not a companion.
And she agreed to go with him.
Right.
You know.
Oh, that's true. He did invite her.
He invited her, yeah. So, a lot of this is just your opinion and what a lot of fans like to do. And it is so debatable that they just kind of said you have to travel in the TARDIS, just to kind of cut it down.
Right.
But there are, because I totally see Astrid as a companion.
Yeah, I don't. It's just, to me, it was a pre-show to it. It's showing the potential, but not, I wouldn't put a classifier as one of his companions. Again, that's just me.
I think it was
And
because
half
it
the
was a
people out
Christmas
there.
special. It was a Christmas special. It was stunt casting. It, she is marketed as a companion, whereas somebody who kind of fulfills the same role, Mrs. Moore,
Right.
is not a companion because she didn't make it. If
So
she
Mrs.
can-
Moore was just to put it back, when Martha's season.
Yes.
She
No,
was-
not Martha's season. It was Rose's season. She was on Pete's Planet, wasn't she? No, sorry, I'm wrong.
Pizza
The
Planet.
year that didn't happen.
The year that didn't happen. Right.
Well, they're not
Who?
companion material.
Sorry, who are you talking about?
Mrs. Moore.
The one who
Was too violent for the Doctor by blowing up the Cybermen.
Oh, yeah, and she became a Cyberman?
She got killed by the Cybermen.
So that's why I wanted to clarify who Mrs. Moore was. 'Cause we're all confused.
And then for me, I moved on to Planet of the Ood, and I think Ood Sigma would have been a great companion, like just to round out the cast. But I don't know because he feels like he would be, let's say, like a droid in the Star Wars universe. He would just be there. He wouldn't necessarily be part of the active participants. But I feel like if he was there, it would have added something to the group.
I do like the idea of an additional companion who's an alien.
Yeah.
I do
And one
too.
that you can actually see visually that is an alien. Not only how he speaks, but because the Doctor,
Oh, he
we keep
doesn't look
forgetting,
human?
isn't
Yeah.
human. But we put that aside because he looks so human. But I like that. I want the Doctor to have an alien companion.
A non-human looking alien companion. Because he's
Even if I agree with you. Yes, I want a non-human one. But even Leela,
I was gonna go with
Yeah.
Adric. He wasn't human. Well, or Terran, I guess.
right?
I think it'd be even cool if like Quintus and Evelina, because they're out of time, like so many of the companions have been that, modern person, where I think in the
Yeah.
classic series they would have like people from different time periods, and that would be another opportunity to see how they interact, because we know how a modern person would interact when they see the TARDIS, when they see like a new alien world, but it'd be even more fun, I think, to see that Scottish Highlander
Yeah.
today like showing up on New Earth or
Yeah.
someplace else.
And then from there we go on to the two-parters with the Centaurans, and that brings back Martha. So there's really I don't see any companions in there unless you guys do, because it's two companions already.
Right. I don't see any other
Yeah.
person filling that role.
And then after that we get.
Well, Luke Radigan. He'd be a great companion.
For Adam.
Are you sure? And then after that we get into the Doctor's daughter, and we said that Jenny would be
Oh, yeah.
a very good candidate.
Very sorry they didn't follow up with her. In any of the
Yeah, me
episodes.
too.
Maybe the newest Doctor will run into her.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, and she'll just keep calling her dad all the time. That would be great.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, that would be an interesting like exploration of a topic that is somewhat current in like the pop culture. Like, what would Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, be called or be to
Right.
the Doctor, to Jenny? And I'm sure they're going to be exploring that a lot, because how can you not when you have a new person in a role that has been traditionally one gender? But yeah, that would be interesting. That would have been interesting.
I think River would just carry on like normal.
Sweetie. So
Yeah,
that's how you
sweetie,
refer
yes.
to him.
Yeah.
Pretty boy.
Wife.
Wife.
She would
Yeah.
just say wife.
She would just say wife.
In one of
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, she would also say, "This is my wife."
And also, in one of the episodes, she does mention that she had been married to women.
Yeah, she was.
That's right.
She
I
had
forgot
two
about
wives.
that.
This, reminds me of my second wife.
And then I was just thinking it'd be more of DS9 in Star Trek,
yeah.
where
With the trill.
With the trill, and Benjamin Sister calls it "old man" because that's how he first met Dax as the old
man.
man. So I thought, well, Jenny would do the same thing. Hi, Dad, knowing that as a woman and not caring because to her it's the same person.
And then there's another episode where Jadzia meets her former wife, who's still a woman, but Jadzia was a man when they were married, and so they explored that, where it was like, do they continue on their relationship?
So after the Doctor's Daughter, we get into the Unicorn and the Wasp, and I think we mentioned Agatha at some point, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't want her as a permanent companion, but she could visit.
Yeah.
Agreed. I like that.
She's too judgy to be a companion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We should get Miss Chandra Kala coming in. Well, she's already dead, but she's like, Doctor, there's a murder. It's time for you to solve this, and that's how the episode starts. Then after that, we get the Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. And
There's no companions.
No, no.
None.
Evangelista?
No.
Yeah, but that's one thing that's great about.
Maybe,
Maybe.
the
I'm not
Doctor-
against it.
Like, the Doctor
Doctor
could have
would've-
pulled out so many great things from Evangelista. Like,
I have
because
a feeling that it was
Evangelista
always
was
in there.
willing.
And I mean, he
Yeah.
could have even like put her as a hologram or in a Cyberman body or something. I think that would have been cool. Like, because she's in the Cal system. Take her out of
Yeah, but
there.
if she was out of the Cal.
Yeah, take her out of there because she's technically dead. So he would have to download her into
Yeah, but
something else.
if they were going to make her a companion, they would have changed the story and not killed her. And I'm thinking,
And I'm thinking the other way.
even the
They-
original Evangelista had it in her.
And I'm thinking if that episode ended and he would to revisit her, that's why I'm
Yeah.
thinking he would have to extract her from the program.
Right.
I think that'd be cool though, like a hologram companion.
Like the EMH?
Yeah, like
From
that.
Voyager?
Exactly. See. Then
But we get River in these episodes.
Who?
And
Just kidding.
it was really, I thought, a great role. It was it, I think, to be a one-off role.
Yes, it was one off.
She did so well that they do bring her back later on. River would be somebody that'd be great to travel with the Doctor and great companion.
Then from there we get Midnight, and we mentioned Dee Dee and Jethro.
Not
Which one's
Jethro.
Dee Dee?
Which one is Midnight?
Oh, Dee Dee's
on
the scientist girl, the scientist
They're alone
The
trying to go to the
assistant.
Sapphire Waterfalls.
They're-
and
right.
their
The-
transport stops and something's trying to get
The
inside.
the companion light episode. So who do we think would be a good
Which one
companion?
was Dee Dee?
Dee Dee was the young
Assistant.
Assistant.
To Professor.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
She was the one who kept trying to explain things, but no one would listen to her. And the doctor kept saying, "Would you listen to her?"
And then Jethro was the son who was snarky. That's the best word I could think of to be on a podcast. And
He's teenage Groot.
but he did have brains. He did have possibility, but he wasn't ready yet. It's
Yeah.
like, see me in a couple of years when
Yeah.
you grow up, get a little bit
What
more
about
mature.
the stewardess?
Well, she did.
No, but
I
she's
know.
on.
But did her character like display companion qualities?
I'm going to say no, because even though she did sacrifice herself at the end, it seems she did it out of fear.
She reacted too much to her emotions rather than thinking things out.
Yeah, I don't think the doctor, especially the 10th Doctor, would have put up with something like that.
I'm gonna say yes. I think she may have, been too, set in her ways and past that point of being in the companion of I don't know what's going on. Let's find the fun and adventure. It looked like she was tired of her job. She's been doing this for so long.
She didn't have a sense
She's
of
not
humor.
taking it at all. But in the end, I think she did it not just out of fear, but out of this is the only way to do this. Someone has to do it, and she stood up and took over, got the entity out.
Here's a question. I don't remember the character's name, but the character that the entity went into.
Sky.
Sky.
What about Sky?
No.
Before Sky got taken over.
No, she had a lot of negative energy around her.
But
She's
it
just
almost
broken
seemed
up.
like she seemed very much like the Doctor when the Doctor ran away the first time.
I know
It's
what
like,
you
oh,
mean.
We needed to put a galaxy between us.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but and even when she was scared, like she was reacting too much. She was too much. And
Well, she was saying it's after me, and she turned out to be right.
Yes, but
teasing.
companions and CMs, they tend to be a little bit more balanced, even if they are afraid.
That's true.
She was very
Very afraid.
and overreacting.
I would put her no because she did.
Hey.
See, Gene's
Fucking
only
do it.
qualification.
Is this your new thing?
And thinking about it now, the only moment for me that makes her companion material is the point where the Doctor tries to relate to her, and he isn't like in her face like he is with the other passengers, and he's just sitting there with her. And I think he can see something similar in what she's going through with what he went through.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know if I see anything else.
Yeah, I think even with the stewardess, one of the things I see in companions is that they do push outside of the norms. Like, things shouldn't be this way. People should be taken care of. Even Martha, Donna, Rose, they all had something that they could see beyond the established order of things. And the stewardess and Sky both, I feel, were ingrained in that, and they weren't pushing it. Like, I forget the stewardess's name. I shouldn't keep calling her that.
She had no name. No name.
The hostess?
She had no
Oh.
name.
So the hostess, yeah, like the beginning of it, she was still a company person, like more concerned with her job and the company's reputation than with her passengers. And Sky as well, like, was running and scared, but wasn't scared for other people. It was all focused on her own problems.
They're altruistic.
Yes, thank you. That's the word.
And then from there, we just ramp up to the end where we bring back all the other companions. So
All the actual companions.
those are all, actual companions.
Yeah, I do feel like this season there have been other seasons that I can look back and there were other clearly like this person, if they had made it to the end of the episode, the Doctor would have invited them to travel with him in the TARDIS.
I don't know.
But
Dalek Khan. That'd have been a good companion.
Yeah, I would love that Doctor to always yell Khan.
But following up on Kelsey's, we had more discussion here about different potentials than we did in other seasons. The other ones, they seem to be more
Cut and
isolated
dry.
and known, and they wrote them as a companion. And here we're talking about more, and I think the reason we're spending a little more time here is because these episodes seem to be well written, and the characters are a little more fleshed out. They're not as one-dimensional. You get a little bit more, either because of what the actor or actress was, or how it was written. You get a little bit more well-roundedness of an individual. You may not get the whole feel of it. Because I never thought we would be talking about Sky or any of those as potentials.
To maybe clarify his point a little better, we didn't spend much time on Linda with a Y. Because Linda with a Y was, she's a companion material.
And it was
because
written-
she was written as a companion
Russell
material.
explicitly wrote her that way.
Oh, okay.
And I also attribute it to, this is their 4th season, so they they brought back Catherine Tate as a companion who was like more or less a one-off. And then they fleshed her out, so the season of season 4 was about David Tennant and Catherine Tate just playing off of each other, and you kind of wanted that space as opposed to Linda with a Y. Let's see if she can, lack of a better term, a red herring to throw us off. Is Rose going to continue or not?
Plus, I think as the seasons went on, the companion stories themselves became more integral to the season's overarching story.
And more to come.
Yeah. Whereas earlier on, even though Rose was very integral, it was a simpler storyline.
Interesting, though, because Russell and a lot of, I think even Stephen Moffat have said, if you watch those early seasons, Rose is the main character.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say this in any detrimental way or a derogatory way. She's just kind of doing one thing well, and she's driving the story, and the other people, including the Doctor, she's the straight man who's driving the story, and everyone else is sort of the weirdo. So now the Doctor drives the stories more, and the companions' subplots are part of a very slow burn story that's being revealed as the season goes on. So there's more focus on them.
This season, one thing that it just seemed very full. This season really didn't have a big lull area like some of the other seasons did, where you had episodes you didn't really care for, going up to the hills and valleys type of thing. This was constant going on, and part of that was bringing back past companions. Rose was in 3 episodes as a character, but she also appeared in 3 additional episodes for 6 out of the 13. Martha was in
cameos.
5 of the 13 episodes
As a main character
as a main character.
in all 5.
So just bringing back all these different companions added a whole nother layer that other seasons didn't get. We got maybe 1 episode. Like, remember, like Sarah Jane came back in 1 episode. And so this one just kept bringing them back. And there was, part of the whole big mystery that was going on with what's going on with Rose. So I think that overall story and adding those companions really makes this season so full.
And is this the only Dr. Light episode season that the episode was about the companion? Because usually Dr. Light episodes are about other people. Like Love and
Love and
Monsters, Blink,
Blink.
and those. Whereas this was all about Donna was turned left.
I'm thinking of one Capaldi Clara episode where Clara is the main character.
Okay, but up to this point,
Up until this point, yeah.
and that's a great episode.
Yeah.
Going off of what Frank was saying about this season being very full, I also think that Russell had time to kind of crack the formula, because he even said that the mid-season lull is what he's always trying to not avoid, but like try to beat it, like because that's where the first 2-parter comes in. Then you get the next 2 episodes. How can you follow the previous 2-parter to ramp up to the next 2-parter? And in this case, the Doctor's Daughter and the Unicorn and the Wasp, the ratings remained the same, like relatively the same. There was no dip, and he was very proud that he was able to do that in this season.
When we all talked about in previous seasons how the mid-season 2-parter
Kind of clunkers.
It was kind of clunkers. And this season, that was when they brought Martha back. And imagine that 2-parter without Martha.
The Centauran Stratagem and Poison Sky is what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it would have been this the Doctor reacting with Unit. We're already kind of not thinking they're the greatest, but we love Martha in it. So it's like if you take Martha out of it, we would have, I think, had clunkers again.
I don't know if it'd be clunkers, but it would have been less. I agree with you that Martha added something to it.
I mean, even the Doctor's Daughter.
Yeah, that's Martha too.
Yeah, like that whole subplot where you're hearing about the fish people, the Hath side of things. Martha's there with that, but then you needed Donna to be there with the daughter. So it's kind of, you needed those 2 companions because those are 2 companion story points.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Catherine Tate has something to do with Turn Left, why they had a companion episode. She was a well-known personality. So it's like, we have her. We have her.
Give her
Everybody
her
already
own
knows her. This is like, we have to utilize her. I'm not sure. That could be my own just speculation.
Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of guest stars on this season that were well-known. I mean,
Like
Peter
Capaldi.
Capaldi, Phil Davis, Alex Kingston, who was
Oh,
River
yeah.
Song. I mean, we all knew her from other shows as well.
The Nigel Terry,
Who did he play?
General Cobb, Colonel Cobb, General.
They also had, extended family with Georgia Moffat, who is the Doctor's daughter, and David Troughton, the son of the second Doctor.
Professor Hobbs.
So it's just, they're just such great,
Yeah.
And Series 4 does close off kind of a chapter of this Doctor Who, like, larger story
Right,
arc.
the 10th Doctor's arc.
Right, and they had, they had done all the work of setting up Martha and Rose and all these characters that we finally, as new Who viewers, have a history with. We didn't have to dip back to the classic. Now we had 3 previous seasons of characters and stories to really connect. And yeah, I think this whole Series 4, they did a really good job of bringing all those things back together for a final season and playing on a lot of the emotions that we had invested from Rose, from episode 1 of season 1. So, yeah.
And Russell knew he was leaving, right?
Yes.
So that's part of it as well. Tennant's leaving, Russell's leaving. A lot of, directors, the whole
The crew.
crew pretty much left, right? And they started up
No,
over again
not
with
the whole
Moffat.
crew, but it was
A lot of them.
Russell, Julie Gardner,
Phil Davis.
Phil.
Coulson.
No, he stayed.
No.
Did he leave?
This was, he left midway through season 4 because Phil Coulson got promoted to head of BBC Drama.
That's right. So he was still with the BBC. Okay, that's how I remember him still being with the show. And then David Tennant.
So it was his, swan song goodbye. Let's go out with a big bang, which
Yeah.
was great. I love that. Yeah. Looking down at my notes, there's also Chippo Chung, who played Chanthro, she came back and turned left as a fortune teller who put the thing on Donna's back. And
The actor or the
the
character?
actress.
Oh, okay.
It was the
actress.
same actress, which
Oh, okay.
it's just another nice
Character.
little callback nod.
There's a BB.
And then Richard Dawkins and Paula Grady, who are biologists, or made cameo. Well, let's see, biologist was Richard Dawkins, and then Paula Grady cameos on that whole Stolen Earth. So they threw a lot in of well-known people that people would recognize.
Off of what Alburn said about the journey, and Brian mentioning that the companion is the main character. For me, Donna's character arc is she's brought out of the ordinary world because she refuses the call to adventure following the hero's journey in Runaway Bride, and then she comes back by answering the call in Partners in Crime, and then she's brought into the special world by traveling with the Doctor and the TARDIS for this season, and then at the end, if you follow the hero's journey as a story arc, she returns back to the ordinary world. But instead of having the elixir that you're supposed to get and to save the world, she does save the world, but she is not better for saving the world. And I think that's the kind of like a turn on phrase or a
real bummer.
Subverting expectations.
yes, like turning the format and just twisting it. And I like that it's still satisfying even though it is a bummer, but I like that is her journey. And then with the Doctor, the 10th Doctor in this season, his journey is a little bit more nebulous, shall we say. In Fires of Pompeii, he likes to follow the rules set by the Gallifreyans and the Time Lords. Like, you can't mess with fixed points in time, and these people were meant to die. And then from there, he kind of starts to make his own rules with, like, Silence in the Library. That I think that's where the seed starts to grow from
No,
there.
the seed is Fires of Pompeii.
Yeah, but it starts to grow in Silence
it's
of the
growing,
Library.
yeah.
Then with River thrown in the mix, that seed starts to grow, and then when we will eventually get into the specials, where that's where I think his journey continues.
Because at the end of Forest of the Dead, he says directly to River, I can change history.
And she says no.
And she says, don't you dare. But he's reached that point where it's like, no, I'll change it.
And so I think that's his journey, where it's not necessarily the hero's journey, but it is what Russell wrote for him.
Is it also, how the companions have influenced and changed him, where at the end of the season with Davros trying to play in his mind how he's changed the companions, and how he's made them a little more warlike, or who's died for him. And it's how the companions actually have changed the Doctor by the end of this, in that he is willing to change history now, which is not a good thing.
No, I think we agree that that's not a great arc, but that is the arc.
Right. No, but it's just,
Yeah.
I never really thought about how the companions changed him, where they meant for it to good, because Donna starts off saying,
You need somebody.
you need somebody to change you in the
Then she does
Bride.
change him.
You need something to stop you.
The thing is, though,
So
we
maybe-
laugh when it's like, oh, it's not a good thing for him to change history. I think it opens up the world a little bit more, because when you get into the Matt Smith years, he says things like, we change history all the time. And from a production standpoint, it's like, the Doctor does what the script needs him to do. It's like he does rescue Peter Capaldi's family. That does change history
In Fires of Pompeii.
in Fires of Pompeii, and does not bring about the end of the world. Like it would.
Just the end of their world.
Right.
But it's how much history is he willing to change?
It's if you really want to rationalize it, it's like you could go down to, is it a fixed point in history that has to happen? But there's very few of those. Just don't abuse it. Just don't do it badly. If you write a good story, you can do whatever you want.
You got to at least follow one of the rules, which is the fixed point in time.
Yeah. And they wrote the fixed point in
Yeah.
time just for that.
Yeah, because if you don't have rules that you have to follow and there's consequences, then the story just meanders and doesn't give any stakes.
And
What? Clara. One of the largest problems of her
Right.
season, and we don't have to talk about it.
Well, we will
get
talk
there.
about
Yeah.
that.
but even the fixed points, they break that rule too.
If we go back to Pompeii, it had to erupt. The volcano had to erupt.
Yes, the volcano had to erupt.
But saving this one family didn't affect a lot of other things.
Exactly.
If they had written it that he made it so the volcano didn't erupt, which saved whatever, that would be wrong, because it's messing with our own history.
Very, very
When it
wrong.
goes to that much, that I really don't like. And it's also changing a lot of things in the storyline of the Doctor. It's like, no, it has to erupt. He knows it has to erupt because it did.
What I really like about that episode is them interfering actually is our history, because they're the ones that caused the
Right.
volcano to erupt in that way rather than destroy. What came up was the alternative, destroying the world? What?
Yeah, because the Pyrovillians were going to take over the world.
Right, so it was either
He
going
has to blow the volcano to stop the Pyrovillians.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. So that is our history. So they're actually the ones who caused it. So them interfering,
Saved.
you know,
It's the greater good.
was history.
Needs of the many.
But as long as
outweighs
it's,
the few.
our historic
Right.
records, I think that's fine. I
Right,
think-
but-
I like that twist as a story that he had to do it. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. That's what I really like about that is them interfering is our history. Usually, it's our history is happening and he interferes and has to avoid changing our history. But
Right.
I thought that was a really great twist on that.
Some other things that made it into season 4 that were from previous seasons were the planet of the Ood, which kind of wraps up, well, not wraps up, but continues the story of the Ood from season 2, the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
I like that they expanded on the race.
I do too. And then, like we mentioned before, the Centauran stratagem and the Poison Sky, Martha Jones comes back along with the Centaurans, and the Centaurans were a classic Who villain that made it into the modern series.
And that's when we first see Doctor's effect on past companions. Mm-hmm. Donna's going, you turned Martha into a soldier, type of thing. But that's where that started, and it'll be explored in later seasons.
And then in Turn Left, we mentioned that Rose comes back. This is her full appearance as opposed to a fading appearance. And then in Silence in the Library, we get the squareness gun all the way back from season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Some other things I notice is that I like to always point out when the TARDIS is missing from the story. And in Fires of Pompeii, it's missing for a little bit because it's purchased, because it's modern art.
It's modern art.
And then in Poison Sky, the Centaurans physically take the TARDIS, and they have to get it back. And then in The Doctor's Daughter, they are physically separated from the TARDIS because of the Hath attack, and there's an explosion that causes the cave-in. And then in Midnight, the Doctor just doesn't use the TARDIS. And then in Turn Left, the TARDIS is very weak, so they only use it at the very end. And then what Frank mentioned is that in Stolen Earth, that's where Davros and the Daleks take the TARDIS with Donna in it, and then they throw it into the lava and try to melt it. And then we mentioned before the big mystery of season 4 it's not just one thing, there's several things. There's all the missing planets or celestial bodies. There's the missing bees. Then there is She is Returning, referring to Rose. And then for the first half of the season, we get the Atmos devices. And then the big one, well, not a big one, but the one leading to the end of the season is Dr. Donna, the Dr. Donna, and them always being mistaken as a couple, brother and sister, or as one.
Well, then don't forget there's something on your back.
There's something on my back.
Well, the Dr. Donna I loved because it was its own running joke of putting them together as a couple. But the way, if you listen to it, knowing that the Dr. Donna is an entity and coming up,
When the first
and you
time
hear
it-
them always talking about it as, oh, the Dr. Donna, or the Dr. and Donna, well, Mr. and Mrs.
And the first time it was said, it was a joke because she says, she calls, I can't remember who it was. Was it?
At the planet of the Ood.
Yeah, she calls him Doctor.
No, not never. Never together.
Well, no.
No,
When
when
she
she
calls him the
says,
doctor.
I'm a doctor, right? Is that what she...
I can't remember the exact thing, but they call her the doctor. She says, "No, Donna." Okay, Dr. Donna.
Right.
So it didn't seem like it was a foreshadowing to a larger thing because it was just a joke.
If I remember correctly from Writer's Tale, that wasn't foreshadowing. He had no idea.
Oh yeah.
And then he got to the end of the season and he thought,
Oh wow.
oh, we could do this.
I love it even more now.
Yeah, I don't think that was planned. It wasn't like the bees.
great.
It wasn't like planets disappearing. It was, oh, look what we've kind of written ourselves into. Okay.
Yeah, those are happy accidents whenever you can plant a seed not knowing where it will go and then be able to pay it off. That's always great.
It just seems more organic because it sort
Yeah.
of is.
And that's different than planting every seed you can think of with no idea of where it will go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Wrong timeline.
Clara.
Yeah, that's
JJ.
more at JJ. Yeah. His style, JJ Abrams style of.
Oh, I think that was more Damon Lindelof than J.J. Abrams.
I agree with
Well, it was on Westworld. It was in Westworld
No, I
as
agree
well.
with that.
So
the new aliens. Yeah, no.
Another thing I think helped make this season really full is that we already knew Donna when she first came in, so we didn't have to do a lot of, introducing of a character. So the first episode started, running. We're all going. So we see her, she's there and doing the same thing the Doctor's doing. So we already know what's going on. We already seen them as a relationship, work together. So we just jumped right into it, and we're taken along for the ride. So I think not that slow build up, of them getting to know each other, really helped the season just kick off to a great start.
And for me, it's the best doctor-companion relationship.
I agree.
It's best friends. No complications. No mysteries. No...
Will they, won't they?
Yeah, exactly.
No shipping.
Just,
No shipping.
no
Ugh,
shipping, yeah.
please.
And just two friends traveling. I love it.
Kelsey and I have used Partners in Crime to show a few people, your folks, some other people, what Doctor Who could be. Like, because that is Doctor Who at some of its best.
Well, no,
You know,
my dad was visiting. My parents were visiting us. You're on this podcast. I want to watch one of them. And we're like, hey, what are we going to show him? What are we going to show him?
Well, the pressure.
I know, isn't that pressure now?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my favorite is this one. Let's watch this one. And we put it on, and my dad loved it. Like, it's.
It's also very rare in television, even to this day, to have a male character and a female character be leads that don't eventually become romantic, which I is find really frustrating. I mean, even when it happened on The Walking Dead, spoilers, to me it was so wrong. No, those two characters wouldn't do that. Because even in Star Trek,
It happens.
it happens all the time. Like, even in Discovery, you've got Michael and
Michael is a female character.
yeah, Michael Burnham and Tyler.
I can't remember his name.
I
But
think it's Tyler. They eventually get together. But Next Generation, Picard and Beverly Crusher
Right away,
had this
yeah.
little history. Deanna and Riker had this ongoing little history thing.
big history.
And then Deanna and
We do not mention that. We do not mention.
Oh, and Tom and
B'Elanna. And, they are always hooking people up. And now, there is one in Deep Space Nine, Cisco and Kira never got together, which is great. But even when you read the behind the scenes of Deep Space Nine, the writers wanted Kira and Gul Dukat, the bad guy, the bad Cardassian, to begin to have this weird kind of relationship.
Oh, that's
and it was
wrong.
the actress saying, never in a million years, and they just cut it out.
But I am glad that they kept Ducat's weird obsession with the Bajor
Yes.
people. Like, it was
Yes.
good from his end, but
yes, but
Kira
never
would
reciprocated.
never,
No, never
yeah.
reciprocated.
I also think it's in response to the past episodes with Rose and stuff like that. Like, it was time to do that story-wise, but I'm not discounting anything you're saying.
And side note, Jaxia and Worf I thought were great. I'm so glad they got together.
Yes, that worked.
Deanna, no, we don't mention that. Jaxia, okay. Side note over.
it still happened.
I also think, too, that at this point the show gained enough popularity that the showrunners had the power to override any studio interference with, gotta have a romance.
There was romance on the show. Donna did find her love and had 2 kids, and that was sad that
that
he
was an
left.
episode.
Lee.
There's a lot of sadness in this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
That, I think I would say that is one of the biggest problems with this series, this season, is because it ends the way that it does with Donna. Like, it makes all of those beautiful first couple episodes so bittersweet that
Yes.
they are emotional to watch, but you're in for that arc down to Donna being how she ends up
That's
again.
why River says to her, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
But that is, a problem being so sad in certain aspects, but it also adds such a layer when you watch it again that makes it a better drama.
So we've talked a lot about what we like about season 4, and we're not the only ones. It won a lot of awards, and I'll just mention a couple of them. Won and was nominated for a couple of Constellation Awards. Was nominated for Best Male Performance in a 2008 science fiction television episode, going to David Tennant for Midnight, and for Best Female Performance in a 2008 science fiction television episode, going to Catherine Tate for Turn Left, in which she won. And then in the RTS Television Awards, Best Male Actor, David Tennant won for that one. Best Sound Drama, Julian Horth, Tim Ricketts, Paul McFadden, and Paul Jeffries for Midnight. They won for that category. So BAFTA Awards, the Welsh BAFTA Awards. It was Best Director in a Drama, Euros Lyn won for Silence in the Library. Best Screenwriter, Russell T. Davis won for Midnight. Best Sound, again, Julian Horath, Tim Ricketts, Paul McFadden, and Paul Jeffries won for Midnight. And then Hugo Awards, it was nominated for Best Dramatic Presentation in Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, and Turn Left. And we discussed that it lost to Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along
Oh, that's
blog.
right.
And also some broadcasting milestones. Series 4 featured a couple of them. It's the 30th broadcast season of Doctor Who and features the 750th broadcast episode, The Stolen Earth, and the 50th new series episode, Silence in the Library. And then Brian has our recommendations for how we thought that these episodes would do for somebody, let's just say, off the street. So at the end of our episodes, we like to categorize the episode we just talked about as to who is it good for. And we have 4 categories: a new viewer, a casual viewer, a fan of the show, or a diehard.
Yeah, so looking at this chart, when you see the full season, we really liked this season. There isn't one single diehard
Oh,
listing. None of us thought this could only appeal to a diehard. Partners in Crime, the first one, we were unanimous. It was good for everybody. And then you keep going. It's new people and maybe a casual fan. That was Fires of Pompeii. When we got down to the Centaurum strategy, the 2-parter, we were split. Kelsey, Auburn, and Arlene said it was for a fan only. And then I said I was going to say something I don't think anybody else would. This is for a new person. And Frank's jaw hit the ground. And so it was like, oh, he obviously doesn't think it's that. And then when we got to Frank, you said, I'm very surprised because I was going to say a new person and I thought I was going to be the only new person. And my jaw hit the ground. So we evened out. And then Eugene joined us. So when you got to Centaurum strategy, 3 of us said it was good for new. And 3 of us said it was for a fan.
The diehard said it was good for a new viewer.
So that one's pretty good for a casual, because it's right in the middle between our votes.
Yeah, and then, through the rest of the season, probably up until right before Silence in the Library, we're kind of in the middle. A lot of casuals, a couple fans, a couple news. We even at one point for, I believe it was... for the doctor's daughter, we actually called Heather out of the blue just to get her opinion because Kelsey and Arlene were not available and we wanted more opinions. So we called Heather on the phone and she said it was for a fan. So couldn't have said new. When then we got another unanimous choice with Silence in the Library. Is it Silence in the Library?
Silence was episode 8.
Okay, yeah, sorry. That's the all the yeses threw me off. When we did Silence in the Library, that was new to casual, so that was fairly high end. There was 6 of us who said new, and 2 others who were wrong. And that would be Kelsey and Frank.
Fine. Frank's my new best friend anyway, so I don't really care.
And then when we get Forest of the Dead, of course, all of us said yes, it lives up to the promise of the first episode. Got a lot of fans for Turn Left and Stolen Earth. What's the last one?
Midnight?
Journey's End.
Journey's End.
Sorry.
Lives up.
yeah.
Well, Journey's End lives up, but we do have Stolen Earth. We do have Turn Left. Those we all said fans needed to see that, not because that we dislike the episodes in any way. There's just too much going on. And Eugene was the only one who said that Midnight is an episode. Oh, Josh did as well. Eugene and Josh said that new people could do Midnight. The rest of us were mainly fans. You were casual.
Okay, so I'm almost new.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking I must have done new on that one, but back then, at that moment, I voted the other way. Sorry, guys.
Something that surprised me, going back and watching these episodes in season 4 for our podcast, is how much I didn't like most of them. in my mind, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch season 4 again. And then I'm watching them, I'm like, oh, this isn't a very good episode. Oh, this isn't a very good episode either. But because at the end of every episode that I didn't really care for while I was watching it, at the end, Donna Noble would say something or Donna Noble would do something, and I'd be like, oh, this is such a great episode. It's like, oh, and so anyway, that was just something that I thought was, I found surprising and interesting, and how a good companion, or really this goes for any series, a well-acted character can really save a show.
You actually only listed one episode of the season for a new Who person, and that was one, Partners in Crime. Everything else, you're casual or a fan. I have 6 new Who
Categories.
episodes.
That's funny that you like season 3's episodes more, because I felt like that was a season that Martha was a good companion, but she had bad episodes to work in. Whereas this season, I mean, I love Donna, but I agree that because we kind of know as viewers who have seen it that, Donna doesn't have a happy ending. I wonder if that colored some of your perceptions, or maybe colors some of my perceptions of the episodes. I mean, it definitely, like, not every episode was a home run for me, but I feel like
You got a lot of fans.
yeah, I feel like maybe just because it was Donna, I enjoyed season 4 more than season 3. But maybe that's just because
Is
of
that what I'm
Donna.
saying?
Oh,
Wait, what are you?
I thought you were saying season 3 was better than season 4.
Yeah.
maybe I
I
misunderstood.
think I still like season 4 better than season 3, but episode by episode, I think season 3 has better
Oh, okay.
stories.
Okay.
But season 4 is still my favorite season. But that's why I was surprised when I was rewatching the episodes. I don't like this episode. This is not a good story. Is what was my opinion, and it was surprising because I have such fond memories of season 4.
The season 4 is the character. And season 4, there's not extra baggage between the Doctor and the companion that we've had up until now. It can just be them.
And one thing that we talked about it just taints Martha's season is she's not Rose. That feeling just permeates your memory.
Especially
for season 3 is all the different episodes where she's not Rose.
Especially going through
they put too
it.
much onto that aspect of it.
Especially going through it for this podcast. It's everywhere. And it's just like, oh no, they're doing it again. Oh no, they're doing it again. So when we were going through for the podcast week after week, yeah, it really, really stood out. When we were watching it new, yes, it was there. Yeah, we knew it, but it didn't seem so in your face and annoying.
I think, though, I don't disagree with that, but I think it kind of had to be to justify her not going on with him. It needed to be something that permeated that her life with the Doctor was she's never going to.
She could have picked up on it quicker. So she had that, and then going, this is the time I'm leaving.
I
But
get
she
it.
never really seemed to pick up on that. And that, to me, that's like why the seasons are different. The whole sum of the parts type of idea. The season 3 isn't as good as season 4 because of certain aspects. But I can see some of the episodes being really done well when you watch them again.
Like human nature.
It's like, oh my gosh, these are really good. But then you also have Daleks in Manhattan, where I think season 4 is more even. Doesn't have those hills and valleys of really good episodes and some bad episodes.
So we just talked about the classification and recommendations of the episodes in season 4, and I also wanted to mention a couple ones that aren't necessarily full-length episodes, but are part of season 4, where we had the Time Crash, the Children in Need special, and then there's also Music of the Spheres, which is an interactive program with the Grask, and that you can find on YouTube. So I just wanted to mention that is part of
Time Crash
that.
was with the other Doctor. Which Doctor?
Time Crash is with the 5th Doctor.
Recently at a convention, Peter Davison, the father, the 5th Doctor, was asked, what was the craziest gift you were ever given by a fan? And his response, without missing a beat, was grandchildren.
That's great.
For me, watching season 4 through the lens of a podcast, originally I did not like the season 4 theme. It felt too busy, but then this time around watching it with the season 4 finale, Stolen Earth, where the scene with the milkman looking up in the sky as the Doctor and Donna exit the TARDIS, and you get the theme of the Davros, I believe it's the Davros track from season 4. It's got Trill on the piano, like dancing keys to kind of make it bit uneasy, and then it goes right into the season 4 opening credits with the theme, and it also has a piano in there. So that to me was the first time that theme fit with the show. And we talk about music all the time, and I love that the Doctor's theme came back and it was arranged differently. And also season 4's ending is probably one of the best finales ever in Doctor Who, bringing back all the companions. And we mentioned that it's like the Avengers Infinity War of Doctor Who, or the Knights of the Round Table, or Justice League, getting together. Where before we talk about the hero's journey, it's always about a singular person, like the Doctor was Beowulf or Homer in the Odyssey, where now it's turned into the Knights of the Round Table, like your main character gathering all these people together. And I think, I kind of take that metaphor and place it into our podcast. So I really like that a bunch of people got together around the table. So that wraps up season 4. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time when the future becomes the present.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
All our episodes are engineered by Allburn.
You can also find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Who Knew Podcast.
Comment on our Facebook page.
Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to help support Who Knew Podcast.
Also listen to us on your Amazon Echo by enabling a podcast skill.
All of our episodes are on whonewpodcast.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who.
The longest running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell,
Sydney Newman,
Verity Lambert,
Ron Grainer,
And all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.
Star Trek.
Hey, there's
Are we
going to be
gonna
a
have
lot
a-
of Star Trek on these.
yeah, I was gonna
Have your
ask. I
photon
was like, wait a minute,
torpedoes
that's
ready.
like the third one, guys.
It's not over yet.
It already
Some of
started
them get
yesterday.
really blatant.
It already started yesterday.
So,
He mentioned
I
it.
started yesterday.
sorry. We can cut that whole thing out.
way to go. But also another part of
Anything else? I'm going to go through the awards. We're good? Cool.
You're giving us awards?
For Best Commentator.
They're all for Eugene.
Hello, welcome to my trophy shelf.
Okay, don't include this. Cut this out.